All right, this next preset is called Sitar Reversal in the hybrid instruments again. Let's just play a note. Nothing very fancy happening here, but I do want to show you a good use of using the multi-mode. So in this multi, we have two variations of this sound. The first one here, this one not in red, is simply playing through the sound of this sitar sample. Again, nothing fancy here, okay? It's playing, and then it's going to loop for a little bit, back and forth, which will just let it sustain. That way I'm holding the note and we're getting that sound. Now, the other one here is doing a reverse shot, and it's looped. So whenever I hit, both are going to re-trigger. This one's going to kind of come and dip to get that little reverse thing. It's not quite where I would want it. So what I'm going to do is double click here and let's investigate, because it's not quite getting that initial transient. So we'll just bring this down a little bit and try it again. There we go. I can even speed this up more or less. Or we can set this to BPM to play back at a specific rhythmic interval. And again, these can be turned off of re-trigger, so we're just kind of playing through and they're always sweeping back and forth. Now you heard I played a couple notes sustained and it dropped out. You can use up to 8 voices. So I hit 4 notes and the 5th note dropped out because we're still in multi-mode, meaning we're using 2 instances. So 2 instances, 4 notes, that's 8 total. So you heard when I hit that last one, it dropped the lowest note, or the first note I hit. Okay, keep that in mind. So as you start to use multi-mode, your polyphony is going to be affected. Now, that's a very simple option on how to do that, right? Let's look at a more bizarre use case scenario. In the sequences, there's a great preset called Affinity. And so let's hold down a note here. Okay, let's hear what the original sample is. A lot of these samples inside a form are just someone recorded like a hardware synth in just a single note. So that's kind of what this sounds like, an analog synth, big heavy patch, maybe a stacked saw wave, and then 3 versions scrolling through in different ways, all have different effect settings. Some are manipulated in different ways. Here, the amplitude of the 3rd one is kind of doing this side chain. Very slick. So here's another case where you just might want to kind of take your initial sound and then mess with it a bit more. Here's what the initial one sounded like, actually. You can tell by just putting it in single mode. And playing through each one like this. All right, so let's put that back in multi. And real quickly, I want to show you that you can set the default one, choose which one you kind of want to be like the master. And remember, this is kind of neat because we could set the master over here. And then using the remote octave, telling it where I want to be able to hit this on the keyboard to control which sound is being triggered. So to do that, you'd have to turn that on, and you'd probably want to set this much further down somewhere if you had an 88 key way at the bottom left of your keyboard to kind of be able to select through each of these sounds. So if I made different variations here, we could create 2 different multis essentially in the same preset. Gets really slick, can get complicated, but it doesn't have to. And you know enough how to use the synth now that you should be able to control it.